I think it's very important that every once in a while we all stop for a second and reflect on our work. After all, it's very easy to get lost in the daily grind, always thinking about the next outing and not realize how much we've already accomplished. Personally, before making this video, I thought that 2025 was an okay year for my photography, but after taking the time to go through the images I made, I see it now as a good, productive year. There were quite a few photographs I will treasure for a long time. Today, I want to share 12 of those photographs and the lessons we can all learn from them. And at the end of the video, there will be a short montage with some of the best moments in 2025 and some other images that I loved. It feels like it happened a long time ago, but it was just a few months ago that I left San Francisco. I didn't live there for too long, but I sure enjoyed my time in the city. I made many images on those foggy streets, but none of them made the cut in 2025. Instead, from my time in California, I chose 2 images, both from Yosemite National Park. This is the first one. I made it during a rainstorm. I was really hoping for snow, but got only water, a lot of it. But you know, rarely conditions are exactly like you want them to be, so you have to adapt and make the images that are possible at that time, not the ones that you wish were. That's what I did here. This is a long exposure I made from the classic tunnel view viewpoint with my humble 28 to 200mm super zoom lens. And even though the landscape was not snowy as I was hoping for, I still love this image. I finally got that snow I was wishing for a month later. That's when I made this second image of the little chapel down on the valley. You know, Yosemite is not a short drive from San Francisco. It's still a 4-5 hour drive depending on the traffic, and the snowstorm was not guaranteed like the previous time I went to Yosemite when I didn't get the snow. But still, I took the chance and I got rewarded for it. Alright, so we are in April, May now, and the first thing I did after leaving California, after getting here to the Midwest, was to go on a road trip farther north. I can't believe this was my first time in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan at Lake Superior, but it was. The timing wasn't great though, as many roads were still impassable due to snow and mud. But I still got some good images, and my favorite has to be this one of this shed with the American flag. You never know when and where the next good image is gonna come from. Like in this case, it was totally unexpected. We're moving now into the summer, my least favorite season of the year to do photography, but I still got a few photographs to show you. The first 2 I made in Spain, where I spent most of the summer. I made this one just outside of my hometown. This was a shot I had in my bucket list for a very long time. You see, luckily for me, fog is very common in that town, in that valley, but it's usually very thick, so nothing sticks out of that fog. When you get on top of the hills that surround the valley, all you can see, it's a beautiful sea of clouds, but nothing else. So I didn't even know whether this image was possible at all. It was in my mind and I kept trying, but never happened until this summer. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it. It was perfect. Alright, this is the next image from Spain. I made it during a short trip to Valencia. It was a family trip, so I wasn't doing photography, but I still brought, because I always do, my compact camera with me, and I keep an eye out, you know, just in case I see some images, and that was what happened here. I saw these construction workers setting up scaffolding, and I saw the image right away. After a few months in Spain, I came back to the US and I had what was supposed to be a short layover in Charlotte, North Carolina, but eventually became a long one because of a thunderstorm. My next flight got canceled. I had to wait 4 hours at the airport, but hey, I got a few cool images of the planes in the storm. This shows that it's about the journey and not the destination. The image can appear at any time, anywhere. Okay, back in the Midwest, still during the summer, it's surprising that I have at least a third of my favorite images of the year from the summer. But yeah, that time of the year is very prone to some big storms around here, and every time that happened at night, I would just take my camera out to the balcony hoping to capture some lightning. One night I got pretty scared because I was outside setting up my camera and one lightning felt like so close to me that my ears were ringing for a while. But anyway, it all paid off because I was able to make this shot that you see here, a very cool lightning over the lake. Alright, and the next 4 images I selected from my road trip out west. And you know, it's interesting because I visited some stunning locations with majestic mountains and incredible rock formations. One of the images features one of such places. This one I made at Ecola State Park at the Oregon coast. The conditions were absolutely perfect, and of course, cliché shots are cliché for a reason. This place is beautiful. But the other 3 images are way more subtle. Like this one I made at Trillium Lake where I was hoping to get a photo of the lake with Mount Hood in the background. I did get that shot, but this bird flying through the fog with the trees in the background is my pick, no doubt. Oh, this one, another subtle and magical moment that came out of the blue, by the way. I ran into some beautiful fog, I took a random exit just trying to find something to photograph, and I stumbled upon heaven for a photographer like me. The conditions at that dam were, I believe, some of the best I've ever had, and this one was my favorite image, I believe, of the bunch that I made there. On the way back home from the west, I stopped in a few locations I didn't know, like at this nature reserve in Iowa. I wasn't sure what to expect, but as soon as I saw this bison next to the road, I knew that was it. I anticipated this moment of the bison crossing the road, so I waited for it and I was prepared when that happened. I waited for a little bit for that to happen, but it was totally worth it. Okay, and the last one has to be this one of the train in the snow. This is a shot I already had from previous years. I had already made this image a few times before, but I like to revisit the same locations over and over because you just never know when you're gonna get something different, something better. So when it started snowing a few weeks ago, I knew I was going to try to make that image again and the ones that I made at the golf course. And I think this is it. You know, it's funny because, as I said, I was lucky enough to visit some beautiful locations this year, but with the exception of the one image I made in Yosemite National Park and the one at the Oregon coast, every other image could have been made anywhere. I've been doing photography for quite a while now, but every year it becomes more and more clear to me that magic can be found anywhere. And this is the beauty of photography because it keeps me aware, it keeps me wanting to pay attention to what's happening around me no matter where I am. Of course, I still like to travel to beautiful locations, but I think as of right now, it's more like an excuse for me to just get out than actually going to those destinations themselves. Because what happens in between or along the journey is becoming more and more important for my work as time passes. And I hope this makes sense. Anyway, all in all, I'm pretty happy with my photography work in 2025. I cannot thank you enough for following along, for coming with me in this beautiful adventure I'm lucky enough to be in. I don't have huge plans for 2026, but I'm sure it will be another fun year and I hope you'll be here to see it. And now, as I promised, a little montage with the best moments of 2025. Thank you so much for watching and see you again in the next one. Did you see that?